we always encourage people to follow things which they are passionate about. Now, but there's this dilemma. You might be in a society where the need is maybe for you to get into agriculture, but you're not very passionate about agriculture. So which do you
Yeah.
choose? How do you make that choice? Hi guys, and welcome back to the Just My Opinion podcast. It has been so long, but yeah, we are back because there are so many things to talk about, and we feel like it's highly essential we come back. So on the other end, we have the ambassador.
Well, it's all good. A little bit raining out here, but in the summer, it's all good. If we are alive, it's all good.
Okay, so how have you felt like giving your review and all the feedback you get from the reviews you give?
I mean, some of those things, it's more of like, because if you listen to the reviews, like growing up as a kid, I've been a hip hop fan. So it's just like my everyday conversations. It's not work for me. It's no effort. It's just things. These are just ideas I think on a regular basis and how I feel about it.
So on this platform we talk a lot about entertainment, but we also like to diversify and talk about other things. So on this Just My Opinion podcast specifically, we are going to be diversifying. So we're going to start off with the topic our African education system versus the job market. Do we feel like the education system prepares people enough for the job market, or do we feel like there's a vacuum which needs to be filled, or is it something which the youth need to decide and take up education paths which are more beneficial for the system? How do we think we can go about that?
For me, my thought process is first, what are the characteristics of our job market and our educational system? What are the problems, and then what are the possible solutions? Because till we look at things strategically like that, at times we're just talking in circles. So I could start looking at, let's say, what was the purpose of our educational system? Because at times we just met those things and we feel like those things were just created for us to go to school, but these systems were created for a purpose. And when you understand the purpose of our educational system, then can you better understand its weaknesses and why it is the way it is and how to improve upon it. Because some of these systematic things, you cannot just get up. It's not like you can touch, press a switch, on and off, the system will change or something like that. It was a process to be, it will be a process to change it, it will be a process to like improve upon it or whatever. Yeah. So but first you have to understand the system. First, the plantation mentality, knowing that education was introduced in Africa from the whole plantation things and getting people to work on plantations and people to control the plantations. Then we went to the new colonial administration during the period of independence, and then they were trying to train for the British rule indirect rule, and then the French rule assimilation. They had various systems of doing this, but they were trying to hand over authority to some educated African elites who would still be answerable to them and then still give their economy the resources they needed, natural resources they needed. Some historians will take us back to the first university, Timbuktu, the Egyptian system and all of that. But if we are honest with ourselves, we have somehow lost touch of all of the educational systems. And the educational systems we are running with today are the educational systems which were handed over to us by the colonial masters. For some reason, I've had I was fortunate enough to study in Europe. You realize that even the Europeans have moved on from this system, but Africans are still stuck on the system. One is because we are not even questioning the system. That's why I feel like we are still comfortable in this system.
I'll say let's look at from the point of view of an individual who wants to go into the university and I need to choose a field of studies which is going to earn me a living. We have a lot of youths flooding into parts of studies like choosing I don't know, let me say political science or whatever, which it necessarily doesn't translate to getting a job after you finish your studies. So do you think the youth should also be very proactive in their decision making process so that they are able to make those choices which are going to give them better results?
All the way, but I'll even take you a little bit backwards. Like, it's just our thought process. As Africans, they say Africa is how do they even say it? We are the only people who produce what we don't consume and we consume what we don't produce. Hence, it makes us powerless in the capitalist economy because we are not in control of what we need and we are not in control of what we are supplying. if that makes sense. So we don't have that thought process as Africans where we are thinking about like, okay, hunger in Africa, that's why I want to go and study agriculture to solve this problem. Post-harvest loss, or reduce organic days, or shortage of land, so I want to do I don't know what, agroponics or aquaponics or something. I mean, like, we just go to school to learn, and we are thinking how to make money. We'll have a salary. We're not thinking how to solve a problem and hence create value.
Yeah.
So even if you are doing political science, if you are approaching political science from the point of view of what are the problems we have in our society and how can I use this political science to solve this problem, I bet you will not be unemployed. One, you have a job so fast. Two, even if you don't have a job, you are creating value, so you'll be able to even employ others.
Yeah, but I'm also thinking about the fact that we always encourage people to follow things which they are passionate about. Now, but there's this dilemma. You might be in a society where the need is maybe for you to get into agriculture, but you're not very passionate about agriculture. So which do you choose? How do you make that choice?
No, so every society needs a little bit of everything to survive. So it must not be agriculture, but what you are passionate about, you can trace. That's what are you passionate about. You can tune it to something to create value. So I mean, like, if you move on to, let's say, like the job market side of things, to think of it, Africa is a continent that it puts out at least 12 million youth in the workforce each year. But this continent can generate only 3 million jobs. And Africa is also the continent which they say is the most youthful population. It has the most youthful population. So I recall the speech which I always reference to, this speech which was made by one of the Ghanaian president, where he said, the youth can be a very good resource, but it can also be a time bomb, which could explode in the face of Africa. For now, I feel like the whole immigration thing is helping us, because a good number of these youths are being pushed into immigration, which is also a problem on its own, the brain drain thing and all of that. But now, if the continent has to keep all of these 12 million youths going into the workforce and creating just 3 million jobs, then we really have a problem there, which will explode in our faces. One, there's an effort to be made. As I said, things of the society is not a one fixed solution. There should be at least some holistic approach to touch like 3 different sectors and then get solutions. So I feel like the youth should be making some efforts, which should be accompanied by certain policies to ensure that we have the impact of the results we desire. But as I said, it's a process.
Just listening to this, as a mini documentary kind of thing. One of the people who were interviewed, he was talking about the need for a lot of African youths to get into entrepreneurship, because like the principal issue we are facing in Africa is lack of jobs. So we need people to create jobs. And be it you're creating job in the agriculture field, or you're doing better fashion, or you're doing better music, whatever field you find yourself in, try to be a job creator in that field. But like you said in the beginning, like we go to school and the whole reason for us going to school was plantation mentality, be employed. I want to finish school and get a job from the government. Don't ask what your country will do for you, ask what you do for your country. How can you create jobs instead of waiting to seek out jobs?
The whole aspect of entrepreneurship even starts from your ability to identify a problem and solve it. That's just as simple as that. But most of the time, I have had the privilege to look at some of the theses which come from university students. They have very, I don't want to be disrespectful, but very irrelevant and not so practical thesis. I mean, somebody will come and study something which is something which they've just seen online, or a teacher gives them things. It has nothing to do with a real life problem they're trying to solve. Because if your thesis is a real life problem which you are solving, that's already a job you are creating for yourself. But if you look at their thesis, it's some theoretical thing which has nothing to do with real life, or they cannot connect it, at least themselves, they cannot connect it to real life. And then coming out to the entrepreneurship we're talking about, I feel like this is a very good time with entrepreneurship, given that even if Africa is somehow behind the world, so we cannot even try to fix our educational system to meet the needs of industrial revolution, although it's a step which we have to take. But I feel like Africa has to take 2 steps at once, because we cannot just move directly to the stage at which Europe is at without going to some level of industrial revolution thing. But we cannot be stuck on industrial revolution while the world is moving forward, knowing that it's now a global village. So we have to take 2 steps at once. First, it's a very volatile job market now. Things are evolving. It's no longer the everyday desk job thing. With the coming of COVID-19, we have seen the whole job market change, and it will never be the same even after COVID has come and gone. Entrepreneurship, I recall when I was doing economics in secondary school, entrepreneurship was a factor of production. It was coming to put together the other three factors of production to ensure generation or being productive. See now that in this whole Internet of Things and the whole global village thing, entrepreneurship has changed. You don't really need land that much. I know that was one of the factors of production. But now, if you look at the biggest companies in the world, from Google to Facebook to Microsoft, it's not about land. It's about an idea. And with that idea, you can build it on nothing. You just need an idea that works. And that, as I said, is solving a problem, and value will be created out of this thing. So the new generation entrepreneur, you just need maybe your phone, some internet, a laptop, some internet. You download some things, you create some research, you get some value, and you monetize this value, and you start cashing in on it. That's even good to the Africans because we have very limited resources. So if we had to put all the other factors of production together before you can start as an entrepreneur, it would have been really challenging.
A lot of times when you go to school, it's about the grades. It's not about what I learned from the school. It's about how do I have an A, do I have a B, what do I have? Because I will tell you right now, a lot of things which I learned in school, I cannot really remember them. Honestly, I cannot. What really gets to stick in your mind is what you do research on your own and you do the practical. But one thing which we are lacking in our school systems is the practical aspect of it, and that's what the job market needs. They need people who can do rather than tell you how to do or the theory or stuff like that.
We should understand that we're in an economy which is more of, it's going towards an access economy, not so much of an ownership. So access economy is like when you see the things like the Ubers and all these other Airbnb, all of these things which are being built, the systems which Africa just comes to consume and never produce. You realize that are built up the concept of access, having access to things. People don't want to own things that much. They don't want to have access to those things in this global village. I tell the youths, the system, it is what it is. We have to make the most out of your life. Giving excuses that the school is this, my parents were this, is of no use. And if your schools don't meet your educational needs, you can as well complement with the University of YouTube. So no politicians might not be watching things like this, but if in case they are watching, or if they have a cousin or a nephew who is watching and can take it to their brothers who are politicians, on the side of policies which should accompany these youths, increasing the enabling environment for them to create the jobs they need. Do our history very well, we'll realize that economic reasons are behind most, if not all, of the problems of Africa. So if we are running around in circles trying to solve different problems from health to political, to wars, to colonization, to monetary issues, whatever problem Africa has was because of economic reasons.
Thank you very much for listening to us. Thank you very much for tuning in. It has been a good one. I hope you got a lot of value from this, because I think a lot of value was spoken. So let's grow together, because we cannot grow and make Africa be what it is unless we all grow together. Yeah, so thank you very much. Make sure you subscribe to Chakara TV, hit the notification button, and thumbs up to this video if you enjoyed this content. Thanks, guys. Bye.